Alrighty, guys. In this video, we are going to talk about the food vertical. Basically, this is a food distributor, right? This is a food DC that's distributing food products to so many different people, right? It could be retailers, it could be mom and pop shops, it could be anybody else, restaurants, right? So you are a warehouse manager that's running this food DC, and you want to know how to add images, how to deploy LoadProof for your supply chain. So your role is a food distributor, warehouse manager. You are a food, warehouse director, or you could be a food vice president of operations. You could be a food network manager, food industrial engineer, food continuous improvement engineer, continuous improvement manager. And the examples that we have here are, Heinz Celestial. These guys ship a lot of food products, post-consumer products. This is all post-cereal stuff. Kellogg's, again, same cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes. Royal Cup coffee, this is a coffee products. Brent Redmond, this is more of a produce. These guys are shipping a lettuce, right? And then pharmaceutical products, even they fall under, at least I included them under here. And then there is also daily milk runs. These guys actually use LoadProof to take pictures of the milk run document that says, hey, delivered, right? And then Cain is Able is shipping liquor products. So this is a very interesting story where these guys were, they in Pennsylvania, they passed a recent law where you can sell hard liquor in retail stores. And these guys had a very, very interesting problem. They were shipping from their DC to the retail DC, and the retail DC would ship it to the retail stores. And the state said, even if something is broken from the, when the product is being transported from the retail DC to the retail store, if something is broken, they said, hey, the distributor, Cain is Able, have to pay for that. So these guys, started taking pictures and telling them, hey, that's not fair. That's not, the right thing to do, because we can only do what we have control over. So we make sure when the product leaves our facility, we ship it perfectly. So, that's all we can do. And after that, if somebody messes it up, we cannot do anything. So they started taking pictures, and they've been, taking pictures. Basically using LoadProof. So those are, some of the customer examples that we have, deployed LoadProof for, and they're using it, and it's added tremendous value to their business. So, let's talk about the food business in general. I've tried to cover as many, examples as we had, right? And your business is distribute, food products, right? And typically when you say food products, there is dry, there is produce, and there is also frozen food products. And, for our discussion purpose, I'm bringing alcohol products under this category, and also pharma products under this category, right? And food, often the issue that they run into is overages, shortages, and damages, right? You ship more than what was ordered. That could result in a non-compliance chargeback because they got to do something with that extra thing, or they have to ship it back. Shortages, same thing. Ship less than what was ordered, which could result in non-compliance charge because now the order is not fulfilled thoroughly. There is a back order, right? And then damages. So obviously somebody has to pay for this damages. So and another important thing that I've seen is these food distributors, they just clean these trailers so thoroughly because they need to comply with all the FDA requirements. So I had this customer once, we implemented WS for them, and these guys would write lines and lines of description of the cleanliness of the trailer after washing the trailer thoroughly. So just in case something happens, they can go back to their customer and show them how well they've been cleaning the trailers, right? This is the salmonella outbreak and things like that, right? This was actually in Topeka, Kansas. It's in the, this large, truck with all potatoes would come in, and then it would tilt and, feed the machine, and the machine will wash it, peel the potatoes. It's a very interesting process to look at. And that's where the trailer cleaning was so important, right? And also another challenge while shipping produce or frozen items is that you'll have to hand off the product at the right temperature, or else the product could perish. So it's important to show a picture of the temperature gauge and the temperature, during handoff, right? Also, keep in mind, food distribution is one of the challenging business run because the margins are thin, right? That's why often food distribution centers use sophisticated systems that have voice, some tight, really, really tight labor management system that, manages the pickers really, really well. They don't waste even a minute. And also robotic systems to keep the cost as low as possible, right? Because I mean, you generally understand it. The food, one of the least expensive things in the US here is food. So you can go and get food even for like less than $3-4, in McDonald's and even in Chick-fil-A and things like that, right? So that's why the margins are thin and they have to run a really, really tight operation. But the good thing with food is, the business is not going to go away. You're going to be there forever, right? That's why investors like food business too, because nobody can come and disrupt that business. People have to eat food. So it's and they can constantly keep on shipping more. I mean, you're not going to just lose that, right? So it's a good risk averse balanced business, right? And you could also ship to retailers. So as a warehouse manager, you have all your daily stuff. I mean that you got to do. Coordinate all aspects of the distribution process within the supply chain network, lead sites planning, execution, and communication of all daily clerical and operation process, including labor planning and driver management. I mean, I've worked with, we've worked with distributors, food distributors that have their own fleet of trucks. So in that case, the labor planning and driver management becomes very important. OSHA rules, regulations, FDA regulations, DOT, Department of Transportation compliance, with general administrative duties, employee hiring, payroll, customer service responsibilities, right? Sometimes there are also will calls. People will come to the DC and pick it up. That's very interesting thing I saw in food. So all those things you got to manage. Human resources administration, product functionality checks, and cleaning. I mean, cleaning is like one very, very important thing. Warehouse functions, servant leadership, inspire people, keep your people going, run a tight ship, load planning, routing, and carrier management, right? Collection, reporting of KPI data. Sometimes you're responsible for the P&L of the site as well. So you could specialize in many products. Some of them are, handling food grade products, FMCG, FDA, DEA regulated, right? Obviously, right? If you're handling products that require FDA approval, you have to maintain. Sometimes, actually, we have a customer that ship a lot of these baking products, right? And so there are tools that might be used in the cooking, related business where that might need FDA approval. So you have to maintain all the documentation for up to 12 years. It could be anywhere from 3, 7, or 12 years. We have a customer that ship health products, and every return they get, they need to maintain that return documentation for 12 years. And they have this large warehouse that has only papers. All the returns documentation returns they received are stored in that place, and they got to be able to imagine how cumbersome it'll be to go and find something later, right? And if you had something like LoadProof, you would just search by putting in that term, right? I mean the contextual data. So while you're doing all this, also keep in mind that you're working in a supply chain community, right? Your supply chain community comprises of people that you do business with. Usually, it's made of all these people: manufacturers that manufacture products, carriers, trucking companies, ocean carriers, rail carriers, air carriers, multimodal, right? Ocean, land, rail, air, third-party logistics service providers, vendors that you buy your products from, cross-dock facility operators, consolidation facility operators, right? These guys make sure the trucks are thoroughly full, right? The cube is maximized. Consolidation facility operators, LTL terminals, parcel carriers, delivery companies, freight forwarders, freight brokers, right? So all these people that you're going to work with on a daily basis. So just it's very important to keep in mind that you will work with all these people on a regular basis. So build and maintain professional relationships while shipping products, moving products. Mistakes do happen. Sometimes it's theirs, sometimes it's yours, right? Whatever it is, work with your partners, keep proof and load proof, demonstrate that you did your job right. So you can have a professional conversation and articulate your position in a professional way. It's okay to say in a very professional and gentle manner, hey, it's not fair for us to pay for mistakes that is not ours, right? Here is a proof in the form of pictures. However, do not burn bridges, right? Everybody is working very hard to make it for themselves. Also, people move on and change roles very quickly, in this industry. So the same person could take up a different role, and you might face them in a completely, different side, opposite side. So always build and maintain professional relationships. Do not burn bridges. So when you are working with such a community of supply chain service providers, having load proof and pictures to prove that you did your job right gives you a solid ground to stand on when something happens to your shipment. So your challenge, you're losing money on retail chargebacks when you ship to retailers. You're losing dollars due to freight claims. You're losing money on damages. Your customers are submitting damage claims to you. You're losing money on rejected loads. That happens quite a bit in the food business. We heard from a customer where there was this cheese that was spilled all over, and the other person on the receiving end just completely, they got so upset and just rejected the load. Right, and you want to keep the money with you or your customers' pockets, right? So what did you do? You started taking photos in your digital camera. That's what many people are doing. They take pictures in their digital camera, or they take pictures using their smartphone, and then they manually transfer it to the Google Drive or shared drive, SharePoint folder, and then there are 2-3 people sitting there and organizing that every day, copying and pasting pictures in Word documents and keeping that, and adding purchase order numbers, sales order numbers, all manually doing. There are 2-3 people working full time, doing that, right? It's cumbersome to copy photos from the camera, time consuming to organize photos for future reference. And what if the computer crashes, right? No backup for the photos, no visibility across the supply chain, right? Other operators in supply chain cannot see the pictures, right? Your vendors, customers, carriers, lumpers, person at the cross-dock facility, insurance companies cannot see them. That's why a load proof is so valuable, because you can easily give access. I mean, as a matter of fact, one of our customers, he explicitly came back and said, hey, your system makes it so easy to share the pictures with everyone else. All they have to do is go to the browser, log in, and boom, they got the pictures. They don't have to worry about accessing this network, that network, all that stuff. So let's talk about what is a retail chargeback, right? You're shipping to a retailer. The retailer is either issuing a chargeback or automatically detecting your invoice because they are citing non-compliance or damages. Right? If you have a genuine non-compliance issue based on the retailer's routing guide, then you have to make sure that non-compliance issue is addressed first, right? It could be a label that's not correct. The barcode is not scannable, or the pallet is built to 6 feet tall instead of 5 feet tall, or the box size is not correct. It's not one of the box sizes that the retailer can handle, right? So all those, you got to address that first. So once you address, and if you're still getting chargebacks and the reasons that you're getting from the retailer doesn't make sense, then you have to have conversations with the retailer, right? So you want to have a conversation with the retailer. It's not always easy because they're so big. You cannot, get their attention easily. So you start with the pictures of the product you ship. Using LoadProof, start taking pictures of the products you ship that demonstrate the condition of the product you're shipping, right? When you get a chargeback, you can share those pictures and demonstrate to them saying that the condition was perfectly fine when the product left your facility, right? So typically you'll have to submit the pictures through the portal. And with LoadProof, you can do that very easily, because with all the pictures you've taken, you can generate only one, right? Not too many that complicates the process and requires a lot of labor to be spent just to upload pictures. Just generate only one PDF document and upload that one PDF document into the retailer portal and start the conversation, right? Often there are 2 scenarios at play here. The first scenario is the retailer paying for transportation, which is what happens most often. And the second scenario is you paid for transportation, right? Scenario 1, the retailer often pays for transportation because they can take advantage of the economies of scale, right, and get a better deal from the transportation company or carrier. The problem is, because you don't have a contract with the carrier, you cannot directly file a claim with the carrier. So you will have to talk to the retailer and prove it to them that it's not your mistake. And also sometimes, insurance companies get involved because the carrier might insure the move. The insurance companies will ask for the pictures. So if you have LoadProof, it's even easier to provide the pictures to the insurance companies, right? It's not always easy to get the retailer to look into this right away, but work with them, right? Keep pushing back. You might not succeed in the first attempt, but eventually you will succeed. Right? Scenario 2 is you paid the carrier directly, then you can file a claim with the carrier and get your damage reimbursed. Also, often retail chargebacks, come with automatic deductions, right? Which means your accounts receivables team is going to see this first, then they'll call you, the warehouse manager next to see if you have any proof to show that you did your job right. I mean, the shipment was shipped in the perfect condition, good condition, without any of those damages cited by the retail customer, right? That's when you can show load proof on the pictures you took while shipping that shipment. You can also set up your AR people as users in LoadProof so that they can log into LoadProof and retrieve the pictures even without calling you. So it's all automatic, right? As in when you're shipping, they want to look at pictures, they can just go there, put in the sales order number, whatever, a reference that you're tracking, contextual data you're tracking, they can, easily get the pictures and then generate a PDF from that and submit them and then push back, right? Saying that, hey, we did our job right. See, again, right, like I said before, always keep in mind the supply chain is a small community of people. So you're going to see these people again and again, and they all make moves and take up different roles in the same industry, especially in the 3PL. If you're dealing with 3PL, people change so fast. The churn is so high. It's literally a revolving door, I'm telling you. So you'll see them again and again. All you have to do is, go to a trade show, you'll see them there. Yes. So it's important to build and maintain the relationships, don't burn bridges. You're going to see them in a different role. It's just, you don't want to be in a tough spot later. They are in the opposite side, they know all the tricks of the trade and, they're being tough on you, right? So work with them, maintain the relationships professionally. You'll not get surprises when they take up other roles, might be on your opposition side. Also in the 3PL industry, people jump ship so fast, right? So always keep that in mind, okay? So what is a freight claim? So you ship your product through a carrier to a customer. The carrier failed to deliver the product in perfect manner. It was not delivered in the same condition as it left your facility. And often the carriers insure these transportation moves, especially if it's a, act of God or, like a thunderstorm or a tornado or any natural disaster that damage your shipment. You can file a claim to the carrier and then get compensated, right? We actually are a partner with Mercury Gate My Easy Claim. So if you have pictures in LoadProof, and you're already using My Easy Claim, you can automatically pull the pictures from LoadProof into My Easy Claim and submit those pictures to the carrier along with your freight claim. Right? That makes getting compensated by the carrier easier because these shipments are insured. Often the insurance companies get involved. You know what happens, right? They ask for proof, and pictures are the best proof. So in that picture, you can show and prove that the shipment left your facility in perfect condition. That's where, right, LoadProof comes in. Using LoadProof, you can exactly do that. You can take thousands of pictures, and within no time, you can, find those pictures and share them with whoever you need to share them with, right? This could get really complicated if you do not pay for transportation, which means you don't have a contract with the carrier and cannot even talk to them. Typically, this happens when you ship to a retailer. Retailer will often take advantage of the economies of scale and get their own carrier, and carrier will come to your facility and pick up the products. In that case, if there is a damage, then you really have to talk to the retailer. And if they're one of those big retailers, and if you're a small supplier, the 3PLs can help. So what is a damage claim? A damage claim is submitted by the customer to you, right? The customer is got a damaged product and they're somehow doing some extra work and then fixing it, and they're submitting a claim, right? So this could also result in a automatic deduction, right? In the invoice you submitted to your customer, meaning if you submitted an invoice for $10,000, the customer is going to pay only $9,000 and code the damage claim as the reason for the automatic deduction. So that's where you can show pictures from LoadProof to demonstrate that you did your job correctly and it's not your fault. So you can have the customer or the receiver talk to the carrier, or you could go back, if you paid for the carrier, you can go back and file a freight claim and get this addressed, right? A rejected load. This happens in the food industry quite a bit because for whatever reason, the product was really, it was all what do you call, it fell down, the whole thing broke, and it's all spilled all over in the ground, on the floor of the container, and they're like, hey, we cannot even take this, man. So now you got to move it, right? Now you have to take it back, bring it to another place, either another nearby facility or bring it back to your own facility, fix it and ship it back. So now you spend extra on the transportation, hauling it back and redelivering it, and then spend extra on the labor. And also think about, right, especially if it's, food product that you cannot just fix it, all the waste, all the extra costs you spent on the food, it's all gone. So you're spending more on the, products that you need to deliver. So the loss could be a lot, right? So, but if you have pictures to prove that you did your job right, it's not your fault, you can at least push back and say, hey guys, we cannot pay for this because it's not our fault, right? And have the response party pay for it, right? And different scenarios to take pictures of, obviously outbound load and shipping, inbound receiving, if you had any damages, inbound damages, outbound trailer seals, if you're doing, one big, full truckload, trailer conditions, trailer cleanliness, very important when shipping food products, documents, DEA license, that's very important if you're shipping control substances like cannabis, marijuana, right? I think there are like 35 states have made it legal, but there are 5 states that have made it they're still completely illegal to transport. So if you get caught while moving in between those states, you got to be a lot more careful, right? And you can even document driver's licenses. We have seen, I mean, we audit. We have customers that are using, they're capturing driver's license in LoadProof as well. Bills of lading, proof of delivery, parcel manifest, and Gamba, right? I mean, obviously, if you're running a DC and especially food DC, you got to look for every single opportunity to, optimize the whole thing, right? Whatever process it is. So it's important to, look for, it's the principle that hey, you just don't sit in your office and offer superficial comments. Instead, you go to the place and where the value is created, such as shop floor in manufacturing, the operating room in a hospital, job site on a construction project, a kitchen of a restaurant, and the workstation of a software programmer. Right? You go to the actual place and then see, what the heck is going on. A popular approach in companies who implement it is called Gamba Walks, which denote the action of going to the actual process, understand the work, ask questions, and learning from those who do the work, showing respect to them. Right? It's an opportunity for management and support staff to break away from their day-to-day tasks to walk the floor of their workplace to identify wasteful activities. Right? The objective is to understand the value stream and its problems rather than review results or make superficial comments from their office or conference room. Right? That's very important because you don't right get to see the real difficulty in performing the job or the extraneous step they're performing, right? Things like that. So you capture trailer numbers, you capture thermometer readings at the time of handoff from one party to another, and also you can capture proof of compliant loads such as the quality of packing, labeling, stacking, and while building pallets, stretch wrapping, right? Obviously, if it's an LTL, you got to put a thicker, gauge stretch wrapper because there's a lot more movement that happens, whereas in the FTL, the gauge can be slightly less, right? So benefits, obviously there's a lot of cost savings because of the process improvement, labor reduction, no need to manage, there are like 2-3 people are sitting there and organizing these photos. They don't have to do that. Show that the product was shipped outbound damage free, no damages. You can show that, right? Capture damages in the inbound product, that you can do that as well. Prove that the correct quantity was shipped, right? No overages, no shortages, paper trail. Supply chain visibility. You can very confidently share the pictures with your partners, with your vendors, whoever it is, right? And what does that instills confidence in you, and that shows that hey, you're a transparent person. They'll trust you more. That's what improves customer satisfaction, improves relationship with not only customers, everybody, right? Vendors, partners, everybody, carriers, cross dock operators, consolidation operators, right? And you're not just eating the cost by yourself. I mean, this is pretty common when in order to not lose a customer, it's like, hey, all right, we'll just give you free stuff, or we'll replace it with no cost, right? So you don't have to do that. 95%, we've seen 95% customer complaint reduction. Compliance, right? Overage, shortage, damage issues avoided, proof of damage claim, proof for shortage or no shortage, right? All that is there. 75% reduction in labor spent on researching problems after they happen, right? You're not, now we are proactively taking pictures. If something happens, you can just go there and take a picture and download the pictures or download the PDF, or actually you can directly share from LoadProof. All you have to do is just put in the email address and push a button. It will send that, link to the person, right? So you can do all that. When you do all that, right, you're proactively managing. So 70% of cost reduction, labor management problems after they happen, right? And whenever there was an issue, right, if you're I think this is not applicable for this, so we'll go ahead and pass this. So additional customer results, customer satisfaction through self-service portal. Customers love this, and all partners, right? No training needed. It's very simple. You can just log in and see. DA compliance, fine avoided. Documentation cost savings is like 20K. Trailer damage, fine reduction. Compliance for international shipment, right? This happens if you're shipping internationally. The containers, right, that gets loaded on the ship, they very often they would bounce around and move so many times in the ships and would get damaged very frequently, and they could blame you for that. So all those are you can prove to them saying that hey, you guys did your job right, and at least 20% savings in freight claims. We have customers that save $100,000 to $200,000 in freight claims, right? So these are the example videos that will get added to this at the end. I mean, you can watch them. So Yeah, I think that's the food distributor vertical. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Ping us. I will be happy to do a demo for you. Hopefully this helps understand some of the challenges in the food vertical. See you in the next video or see you in the demo.